Well, welcome back to my channel, Mispronounced Adventures. My name is Alex, and welcome to my MAN TGE Overland Ultimate Adventure Van build to hopefully replace my Ford Transit, which has been my home on wheels and adventure machine for the last 4 winters in the Arctic, with something a bit different. So, time to strip the van out. Hopefully we can get all the woodwork out, the bulkhead, the floor, to have a look, see how the van is. If anything needs to get done, give it a clean, although the last owner actually has made this pretty spotless inside for me, which is great. And after everything out, I can actually start the whole planning process, where windows, skylights, and all that sort of stuff's gonna go. There are a lot of self-tapping screws in these walls, so I think there's gonna be quite a few holes to potentially rust-proof and cover up again, which is so fine. I expected it to be that way. And I wanna get the floor out as well, but I want to reuse the floor. It's in pretty good condition. I'm going to insulate underneath it, and then I'm going to put it back on again because it's already cut to size. It's reasonably thick, so it's going to give me a nice surface to mount to. And looking at the ply itself, it looks like a little bit lighter weight than what was in my old van, which was way too heavy. This looks like it will sort of work as a good floor to get remounted down. Plus the floor itself has a nice little, I'm going to go tongue and groove to actually keep a pretty flat surface. And whilst that looks really thick, it's actually just propping up where there's castellations. So the floor itself is a lot thinner. It was a bit thinner than the last floor, and it's not as many ply layers, so it should be a bit lighter. Also, I'm just seeing already, there's these little felt, so hopefully if there's felt below this floor, where these hold it down, that any grit which has got under there under the years shouldn't have rubbed between the paintwork and the floor, so I shouldn't need much rust prevention. And I want to get the bulkhead out, much like the old van. I'm going to build my own insulated bulkhead with a sliding door, because I like that feel, and I like to be able to walk through. Personally, don't really want to do captain chairs open cab. Want to go for sliding door because thermally it's so much better. Sometimes in the Arctic it could be plus 21 degrees in the back of the van and minus 20 in the cab with ice forming on the pillars. And in the summer I've seen temperatures up to 56 degrees inside the cab. But we'll get this out as well, which short term is going to make the van a lot colder, especially when I'm driving, because I haven't got an extra heater in yet. But we'll be getting the heating and the engine preheating in soon enough. And I'm gonna go find Jo. I'm gonna temporarily pull her away from her love of bridges. There we go, Jo, #1 bridge fan. Bridges, so she's... Colours have just got stunning. This woman loves a bridge. This bridge? Oh, it's a bridge! She is running back from this bridge. Wanting to go photograph a bridge. Which the comment section seems to have picked up on. And she can give me a hand. Also, do other MANs have this button? Mine has a nice proper button here, which turns the lights on. Is that a normal feature or is that an extra one? Very rude. This is MAN TGE, not a crowd. Overall, we've got a few little holes to fill. There's a little bit of rust on some of them, so we'll go get some Hammerite spray and probably flatten those off. But overall, behind the walls, it's looking pretty good. You know, bottom of the sills are all clean. Nice. And we'll keep the original door cards in for now. The van is all stripped out, and found a few interesting things. One, the bottom of the sills are absolutely spotless everywhere, and none of the body trim panels are leaking at all, unlike my Transit did. Additionally, a cool little thing is in the wheel arches, they've got a little plastic valve already, a plastic plug. And they just appear there. So I've got a little pre-drilled hole with a grommet in it, so I can run the rock light in pretty easily. Well, there's a few little holes I need to fill like that, where there's been screws before. Which means it's a lot easier for me to install my rock lights. If you've seen the old Transit, I have my rock lights installed. One, because it looks cool in my eyes, and two, because it's really helpful in the Arctic winter. If you need to put on chains or do something deep out, you can just turn the under vehicle lighting on like this. Also quite a useful bit of the rock lights is having wheel arch lighting when you're trying to put the chains on. Right, main thing I need to address is fixing a few of these holes. So there's a bit of swarf on some of them where some of the self-tappers have done, and some of them, it's hard to see, sit a bit proud as well, just because the self-tappers have pulled. So I'm going to fix that. Now a deburring tool would be better, but I can't find mine, so I'm going to use my biggest drill bit for metal and just very quickly just clean those up. But now all the little swarfy ridges are gone quite quickly, and I'll just paint over those. Just going to do the hammer right, just because now there is nice exposed metal, and some of the little swarfy bits had gone a bit rusty. And whilst there wasn't anything to begin with, there's potential for more moisture in the walls, because there's going to be more moisture in the vehicle whilst I'm using it. So I'd rather get all those covered up. So let's seal them all up now. Well, I did buy the correct paint for this colour of silver, just so I am going to cover up some of that black on some of these. I just want to test how well this colour matches. But if you want to find the paint code for your MAN TGE or VW Crafter, I'll show you where it is. Right, in your cab, when you've got your glove box, you put your glove box down. That's your build sticker there. And for me, the paint code is Lima Alpha 7 Whiskey. I'd say that's pretty good, actually. This is completely unnecessary, but I'm enjoying myself. So I'll carry on. Not really spray painted much in the past, so just going to call it practicing, and if I've got to look at it for the next while building the van, I might as well have it look neat. Oh, there we go, that was unnecessary. Right, next up, getting these plates out. Now if you remember Arctic Season 3 with my Transit, when the alternator broke,
and that's how you easily remove an alternator from a vehicle.
Of that palaver, I ended up buying an entire alternator kit, which I didn't even use again, because all we did was break it, and then we had Ford actually take the alternator off. But it has the exact piece I need. M10, there we go. That's also one. After they're loosened. Right, so now I just got to loosen all of these so I can get the floor up. Alright, it does actually appear, this wants to focus, that there is some sort of glue back there, which is slowly starting to give after I propped it up. So we might just have to do it a couple times until it slowly starts to give. Actually, a few minutes later, I propped it up with the spacers from the floor bolts, and the glue is very quickly starting to separate. So I think if I just keep it there for a little bit longer and put another bolt or so in it, it's probably going to start to come off. And we'll add my little heater from the Arctic as well, of about 1500 watts. Right, that's actually worked quite well, but I think I need to get this one out first. So we'll take the bottom step off. Well, it's working well, it's starting to give way. Hey Joe, I urgently need some help, please.
Okay, I'm coming.
I've just used my watch to call Joe, who's inside, because my phone is out of reach as it's the camera, and I can't reach it, and I don't want to put the floor down and it to get stuck again. Well, the floor underneath is pretty spotless, not any wear marks at all. So, as I'm going to reuse this flooring, well, I need to try and get this residue stuff off, so I might see what happens with heat. Attempt to. I used some sticky stuff remover, but that just sort of dissolved it into a black goo, which is not ideal, so I'm going to try a heat gun this time around. Sort of works, but I need to scrape it off. After all that nonsense with heat guns and glue remover, I think I found the easiest system is just to push it. Poor Joe arrives and just absolutely bosses all of this. That's the pulling it method. That's the heating and dissolving method. Waste of time. It appears the one I should have tried earlier is isopropyl alcohol, because that is it disappeared pretty quick. Right, I think we'll call that a night. That's off. That best method for that was the isopropyl alcohol. And on this one, whilst it looks a bit messy, I just need it to be flat. So heating, the isopropyl alcohol didn't work so well on here, but the heating it, then scrape it off, and then the isopropyl alcohol and the sticky stuff remover worked quite well to get those off. But I just needed this to be flat, because when I put the flooring down, I don't want any ridges or it to stick up in the middle. So time to pack this up for the night, and tomorrow we'll get the bulkhead out. I mean, there's not too much to clean at all, really. Just a bit of dust, which should hopefully just blow out in a second. And one little rusted broken screw, which I will treat and get filled in. There we go, all cleaned out. Cleaning, I did notice that's a big old dent in the floor. Not sure what's done that. And I'm going to reuse these holes, but if you're not reusing them, you probably want to fill them because they do go all the way through. Just having a look. Oh, there it is. It's got pretty clean copper grease in it, actually. Yeah. My guess, given that's location, is just before I bought the van, he said he put these triple springs on. He had two, and he said he had to swap them because one of the leaf springs snapped. So my guess is the leaf spring probably snapped out there and then sprung into the bodywork, which is why we got that dent. But apart from that, all good. There's so much space under here compared to my other van. Right, bulkhead wise, it's just using, well, a bit like a T25 Torx bit. There are some rivets here, but I think it's just riveting these plates together, not the frame in, so I don't think I have to drill anything out. Right, let's get it out. Well, there we go. Feels bigger. Well, this feels a bit like progress, doesn't it? Ooh. Little magnetic device. It's got a SIM card in it. I think it's an old tracker. And looks like we've got something underneath the seat as well. We have a set of wireless headphones. I suspect cheap ones. Long term, I am going to put a, well, not even long term, short term, I'm going to put a single passenger seat in. At least for the time being, I can just do that. Cool, well, let's get this out. Bulkhead removed is worth remembering if you are removing a bulkhead. Put the bottom bolts back in because they do go outside and you will get water splashing up through there, which would eventually go into your subfloor, which is not ideal. I've also got the van stripped out. The roof pod, which I'm going to get installed, has now been booked for a couple of weeks' time to get fitted. And it's going to be a cut from the back, all the way back here, all the way to, I think, looking at the photos on a medium, about here. So I think the front of the pod is going to be about here. So not sure if this strut goes out or it remains and is cut flush with it, and then you've got a little shelf because the pod dips down at the front. But you can see even in this section, my head does hit it, and I haven't even got a floor on yet. So that pod is going to be an absolute lifesaver for me, for what I want to do with the van. And I don't think there are probably very, very few medium wheelbases which have the extent the roof pod put on. So that's going to be pretty fun to see how that affects the build and changes the van. And that's pretty much going to be the end of the video here. I'm going to give it a bit more of a clean behind those seats and put the flooring back in temporarily, just because I'm not ready to do the subfloor insulation just yet. If you've liked this sort of content so far, consider checking out the Ford Transit build series, or checking out some of the other ones in the MAN TGE. Or if you're really enjoying it, consider joining the memberships or some of the places I take the vans. In the description, there's plenty of other links in down there as well, which help out the channel. Amazon. I work for Roma, which is a UK lithium battery company, and I do the electrical design consultations for campervan electrical systems. I'm a brand ambassador for Autoterm, looking at their diesel heaters and hot water heaters and hydronic heaters, some of which are going in this van, and plenty of other things. But really, I just want to make content for you guys to enjoy. So thank you very much for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Cheers, bye.